back.
Hi.
We're recording part 2 of Love and Romance.
Mhm.
And hopefully we'll get to the sugar babying and the sex.
Okay, so last time we were really successful writers who didn't know anything about writing sex. So now we're going to ask Lee to fund us and hopefully we get to bring him along. Okay. This was my chance to get away from the world and focus on my writing. I wouldn't have to worry about deadlines or book signings. Nothing. I could sit back and practice writing until the week was up. This was perfect. I nodded to myself, despite being in a phone conversation.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to do.
All right. I'll set up everything today and get the keys to your cabin for you tomorrow. Sound good?
Yeah, thanks, Lee.
Absolutely. See you tomorrow.
Bye. I really like his voice actor.
Yeah, he sounds like nice.
Yeah, he sounds like I think it's well done.
Yeah. I hung up the call and dropped my cell phone onto the bed beside me. If that guy wants to send us any of his old voice acting equipment, we're good.
Please, it's a cry for help.
You're funding an indie, unestablished YouTube channel. That's what
right.
It is, yeah. I was going on a week vacation to be in a cabin and practice writing about sex. This was the most bizarre situation I could have ever imagined. Yet, at the same time, I felt excited by it. I was going to be alone in a cabin for a full week. I could relax the entire time. No one could bother me. Yeah, it's can I just, all my online shipments are ready? As a thought came to mind, I shook my head violently. No, this vacation wasn't for relaxing. It was to practice writing about sex.
Oh, how tiring.
Yeah.
Get your priorities straight, Amelia.
I looked at the ceiling, more determined than ever. Might as well start preparing for tomorrow. What is she gonna do? Watch porn or something?
Really? What the hell? This is so difficult. My life is so hard.
Yeah. I spent the day taking my cat to be looked after by a friend and packing my things. The night was uneventful, allowing me a peaceful sleep until the morning. Unfortunately, I woke up to the sound of my phone going off. I swiped my hand around for the nightstand and desperately tried to get my hand to land on my phone. When I finally did, I slid my thumb across the screen and brought the phone to my ear.
Mellow?
Have you ever heard of people being yellow?
Rise
No.
and shine. I got your keys, and I'm about to pull up in front of your building.
Okay. This guy is the most hands-on manager.
Right?
I slowly sat up, yawning and stretching out the aches in my body. It was definitely the morning, but my body demanded that I lay back and go back to sleep.
What time is it?
9 a.m. I got you breakfast, too, but we gotta get going now if we want to get to the cabin by lunch.
Wow, this guy's on it.
Right?
I don't like him. I mean, I like him, but, if you met him in real life...
Yeah, he'd be, too much for me.
Yeah. What the hell, by lunch? I rubbed my eyes, finally shaking the drowsiness of sleep out of my mind, and looked out the window of my bedroom.
How far is this cabin?
About 4 hours out, give or take. However, I am a fast driver.
I grimaced, remembering how fast Lee liked to drive. The first time he drove me to an autograph section, I swore to take the city buses from then on out. However, since he knew where the cabin was, I had no choice in the matter. I quickly got dressed and grabbed the bag I had picked up the night before, walking through the apartment and checking everything before I exited and locked the front door behind me. I was set on doing this. There was no reason to turn back now. I quickly rushed
He looks like a K-pop star.
Yeah, he does. Wait, because he's Korean? Is that why?
I think...
This looks like it is, I don't know, even the car is, different.
Okay, her name's Amelia Waters.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe she's, an exchange student. They
Berries.
always have those.
Okay, come on.
They always have those. Anyway, I quickly rushed outside and spotted Lee's car with the man himself, leaning on the driver's side door. Yeah, because the wheel is on the other side. Look at the car.
Okay, shut up.
We're in Korea. Okay.
We're not in Korea.
It had been a while since I had been since I had seen him. So I took in his form before approaching. I'm so like,
There are Koreans in this country, in case you didn't know.
yeah, but people don't drive like that. For
Oh,
some,
berries in Korea. We're not in Korea. Amelia Waters in Korea.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe because the car.
I think we're not in Korea.
I'm very sure because the steering wheel is on the other side, and
maybe it's just like
that's
a weird
my
photo.
only evidence. For some reason, I couldn't help but remember that he used to be a model. I was shocked the first time I found out, but apparently he did modeling before he became an agent. Why he left modeling, I would never know, but I was thankful for his work as my manager and agent. Still, looking at him as I approached, I definitely found him attractive, at least enough to be a model for my magazine, especially leaning on the car.
Whoa, he blinks.
Congrats.
That's scary.
With the programming.
That's scary.
Well, I don't know, that's like extra effort to make it more...
Yeah, but it looks weird.
Yeah, like he blinks too much.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
I'm just not gonna look. Lee finally turned to me and smiled, lifting himself off of his car and taking a step towards me.
Hey!
Ooh.
Good morning.
That was loud.
Ooh.
That was really... Hey, sexy!
Hey, sexy, let's do it!
Yeah! Lee raised an eyebrow, but his smile shifted to one of amusement.
Where did that come from?
It's always been there. I shrugged, leaning my head a bit to the side coyly. I looked away from him, pretending not to know what he meant. I could be sexy if I wanted to be, and Lee was the perfect target.
True. I don't know what you're talking about, Lee.
I looked back at Lee to see him chuckle to himself and rustle his hair a bit. I had to admit, it was kind of hot seeing him do that, but I shifted the thought away from my mind. Lee then began to reach towards my bag.
I can take that.
I giggled and passed my bag to him. He took the strap of the bag up and placed it over his shoulder with ease.
Such a gentleman. Thank you.
Anything I can do to help, Amelia?
Okay, I hate it when, like, they do the minimal, and then it's like, such a gentleman.
Right?
Like, they're just being, like, a nice person.
Like, this is expected of you.
Yeah, like, you're just being, like, this is common sense.
Like that awful Tumblr post where she's like, I just want a nice guy, and they're like, the bar is so low. Like,
yeah, and it's like, what was it? Like, a guy who would ask to kiss me or something like that, and it's like, you're literally, and then it was like at the bottom, it's like, you're really just asking not to be sexually assaulted.
Oh my
like,
god.
that is the bar, that's it.
Right? Ugh.
He took it
I hate men.
Unless you're watching this channel, then it's great.
But I love you, I love you.
He took it upon himself to make sure my job was easier and full of success. Always going back to that phrase every time I would question him. What phrase? No problem.
Anything I can do to help, or something.
Okay. It became his way of saying no problem, I guess. Now it's on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Like,
We're
the shadow was on the other side. Anyway, I walked around to the passenger side of the door and opened it, sliding into the car and closing the door after. I buckled in and watched Lee from the car windows, seeing him walk around, place my bag gently in the back, and join me in the driver's seat. If I was going away for a weekend, I would have, like, 3 bags.
Right?
Before he buckled himself in, I am very, like, I need, like, 10 pairs of pants, and then, like, you know? Because I'm like, just in case, you never know.
Honestly, I feel like I'd sleep in pajamas and never, like, get out of bed, so I don't know.
Yeah, but it's, like, it's different when you pack for a trip versus, like, living your life. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it depends on what we were planning to do, but I guess if you were just, like, sitting there and, like, writing, then I don't know.
I don't know. Whenever you travel, it's, like, always, like, I need 5 pairs of pants for this one day.
You're just very high maintenance.
Yeah. Before he buckled himself in, however, he lifted the paper bag that was sitting between our seats up to my eye level, swinging it lightly.
Breakfast.
That's not how I take my breakfast, okay? My eyes brightened at the insignia on the back, a pink lady silhouette. Taking my bag from Lee, I sat it on my lap, opened the top, revealing a neatly wrapped sandwich.
You went to the Pink Lady Cafe for food?
Of course. Only Kay knows how to make your coffee perfectly. Wanted to make sure you were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for the drive ahead.
This guy is, like, too eager.
Right? He's like too much. Like, do you have like an off button?
Yeah, really, like, it's 9 in the morning, relax. Lee pointed to the coffee cup in the cup holder as he began to buckle up. I grinned from ear to ear before reaching over and lifting the cup out of the holder. It was warm in my hand, hallelujah. I tilted my head back a bit and sipped it. Pure, hard black coffee.
Yes.
I let out a large sigh at the taste. Black coffee was indeed the best coffee to drink, and Kay knew how to perfectly brew it to where the caffeine completely destroyed exhaustion and drowsiness.
Nectar of the gods.
Ew, I hate it when people say that.
I trust that.
Oh, whatever you say.
It's true. It's true.
Oh my god. Okay, Lee chuckled in reply before starting the car and driving out. Apparently he had a full tank of gas. What? I bet he stopped by the orphanage, fed the kids. He went to the gym. He did some charity work on the side, and it was like all before 8, and he was like, oh no, I'm late. I guess I better go get her some breakfast and some coffee and this guy. When does he sleep?
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He just thinks about her. That's his fuel.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, he had a full tank of gas, and we immediately got onto the highway towards wherever the cabin was.
So, do you have a plan of action?
Well, I figured I would just sit down by the fire or something and calculate my laptop for a week to see what happens.
You think that'll work?
I don't know. I have never been isolated in a cabin in the woods before, so who knows if this will even work.
Let's hope it does.
I nodded, determined to get the job done. I grabbed my breakfast sandwich from the paper bag it was sitting in and unwrapped it before chowing down. Each bite was full of flavor and made me groan happily.
Hey, don't start practicing now.
Oh my god! I'm just showing you a taste of what's to come.
God!
I looked at Lee, unsure of what he meant by realizing what noises came out of my mouth. I felt myself blush a deep crimson before continuing to eat silently. As I finished the bite, I puffed out my cheeks.
Why are you listening anyway? Don't you have a girlfriend?
Because when they have girlfriends, they can't hear anymore.
Right?
Yeah, I remember talking to someone, and they were like, oh yeah, I don't look at guys anymore since I have a boyfriend. I'm just like, don't you have eyes?
Like, what do you mean you don't? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. The thought of his girlfriend popped in my brain as I asked. She was gorgeous, and she was a local actress. For Chicago small screen...
Chicago, not Korea.
For Chicago small screen talent, she was practically the best in the field. I was slightly envious of her. Lee let out a small, low sigh, which broke me from my thoughts.
We broke up a couple of months ago.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
Right?
Too bad.
Oh.
I was shocked. Lee seemed to really like her, maybe even loved her. What could have caused the split? As if Lee read my mind, he answered with a small smile.
It was a mutual breakup. We just, lost what we felt for each other. She focused more on her career than in the relationship, while I focused more on mine.
But you were together for, a year?
A year and a half, but things like that happen sometimes. We both understood, and we're still on good terms, I guess.
That was respectable. I finished the last bite of my sandwich and sipped on my coffee before looking to the road.
To be perfectly
Even when he
honest,
breaks up with somebody,
I really
he's,
didn't
respectable.
love her as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, that's true. He'd be like, she was such a bitch. Wow. It's just like, yeah, we were just, mutually,
Yeah, Dream Boy.
How is the bar so low? We're like, oh yeah, because he spoke kindly of her.
We're like, he's a nice guy. Really?
Lee nodded, reaching down by the cup holders and burying his hand in a small brown bag. He pulled out a small piece of what looked like a cinnamon roll. 'Cause he is a cinnamon roll!
My god.
He did love his sweets. After tossing it into his mouth and eating it, he continued.
I thought I did, but once I started working more and doing other things, I guess I fell out of whatever honeymoon state of mind I was in. Sad, huh?
Hmm. I shook my head. It was understandable. Romance was not always happy or long lasting. I knew this very well, having written many forms of love. I knew this because I wrote about it. Sometimes they just didn't work out, or the sparks were not as big as they really were. Despite it being said, it was one of the many relationships and emotions a person could face in love.
Not at all. You can't stop your heart from feeling what it feels for someone, even if it stops being in love with them. What the hell does that mean?
What it feels for someone.
Your heart? Oh, whatever.
Like,
that was very confusing.
Yeah. Lee nodded and let out a silent sigh. Something in my gut that there was more to the story, but I didn't want to prod him about it any longer. However, he slowly grew a smile on his face, making me raise an eyebrow.
What about you? Still haven't found Mr. Right?
He's right here.
Huh? Why do you ask?
Well, you asked about my love life. It's only fair that I ask about yours, don't you think?
This sounds like very middle schooly.
Right?
Like high school.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah. I pressed my lips together and puffed my cheeks out again. Yeah, it was fair. My situation hadn't changed, though. I was still single and nowhere near ready enough to mingle. At least that was what I had established for myself.
He'll come around eventually.
Maybe. In the form of a cat.
Hey!
I smacked Lee's shoulder, making him laugh and grip to the steering wheel tighter to keep driving straight. Wow.
I'm kidding.
I hate it when people do that. Like, they, slap anything, like your shoulder or whatever. Especially, like, he's driving. Okay. We both laughed and relaxed. Being around him made me feel happy. The fact that he was helping me get better at my writing only proved how much of a great guy he was. The thought of him being single crossed my mind, but as I thought of it, I shook my head. That was not something that I had to think about now. I began to focus on my practice. What would I write? How would I write it? It was odd indeed to think about writing sex, but it was the oddity of being a romance writer. Our trip indeed went for 3 hours. During the time, I bounced ideas off of Lee, who gave me honest criticism each time. By the time I finally decided what to write, we arrived at the forest trail and entered a stretch of land littered with the cabins.
Wow.
Seeing all of the cabins made me feel like I had stepped into a new world. I was always a city girl, so to experience living away from the bustle of the city was going to be interesting. At last, Lee pulled up and parked in front of a large cabin, one that seemed to be larger than the others.
Here we are.
Yes, we are. And we should stop now because it's been a while.
Okay, so here we are at the end of the episode.
And at a nice cabin, which looks surprisingly different from the other art style. Whatever.
Because
I'm not gonna be an asshole.
We're not
I'm
in
a
the
nice
city.
person.
Because we're not in the city anymore, so it's like different.
Right. We're not in Kansas anymore.
Okay. Anyway, thank you so much, and bye.